What starts with a deep dive into who you are. A lot of people are nervous to deep dive because they say, well, what if I don't like who I find? And I say, I guarantee 1000% you're going to love who you find. So let's go find that person. And then once they find that person, who they are, they realize they can raise their sense of worthiness. And that's a lot of work that we do is how worthy am I? Because you're not going to feel like you're worthy to get your gifts out into the world, or that you even might have gifts if you don't believe that you're worthy, period. So we start there. And once we do that, then it's a self-discovery journey. And I have special questions I ask that help people really to discover who they are and what's right for them and what's next for them. And once they do that, we're uncovering those gifts at that point.
Check out my free community where you could earn $100. Here's the link: https://www.school.com/thebusinessnetwork.
Welcome, everyone, to Doing Business with a Servant's Heart podcast. I'm your host, Steve Ramona, and fired up, excited, happy, joyful, a lot of those positive words, because we're going to talk about something I'm fond of. And my guest even mentioned it before the show today. The word, I'm not going to say it yet. I'll say it. It's called purpose. It's missing in a lot of businesses. I think 90% of businesses think they know what it is or don't know what it is and don't even know why. And I always say, what you don't know, you don't know. Well, you're going to know today because my guest is going to blow your mind. Before we bring her on, let's do our gratitude for today, because we have a servant's heart. Let's give gratitude to you. So for you guys and for my guest and me, success is just around the corner. You are amazing. Boy, oh boy, was that feat fit purpose to a T, because that's what purpose can do, is bring you success. Let's bring our guest on today. Linda, welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me, Steve. I'm excited to be here.
And this is part two. It's been, I think, almost a year. She was so successful, so many views, so many people talking about the show. We're going to bring her back. Let's dive back into purpose. How much has it changed over the last year since we met?
My purpose?
Purpose in general around people you're working with.
Right. I feel as if over the last year, more people have become attuned to and aware of the fact that purpose will bring meaning to what they're doing, and that will bring more joy to their life and more success in every day versus just successes around the corner all the time. So I believe that this alignment with purpose is something that's kind of catching on, and people are recognizing, wow, that might just be the right way to do business, the right way to do relationships, the right way to move through life.
You use a word that I use all the time, and I'll use at the end of this show. I think podcasts are gifts. I think you share. I share this with somebody and they listen and they get impacted, or they reach out, or whatever it may be. How is gifts tied to purpose?
So we've each been entrusted by the universe with specific gifts, and we're supposed to be giving them away. That's why we got them. It's a duty. It's a responsibility. And those gifts inform our purpose. When we're like, what am I here to do? The way to find the answer to that is to explore who you are outside of your roles and responsibilities. And who am I, not just because I have certain skills, because those are just skills that you've learned that you can use to kick ass at anything. But what are my gifts? What are my natural proclivities and my natural tendencies, and the things that I can just naturally do, the things that I was born to bring into this world? What are they? And once you discover them, they will lead you directly to your purpose, and quickly.
Servant's heart, you just described it. Giving away your gifts per the universe, and I'm paraphrasing, but your gifts, that's how you serve. That's how you uplift, impact, change people, correct?
Yes, I believe it's like, Spider-Man, like with great power comes great responsibility. Right?
Yeah.
And our gifts are very powerful, and we have the duty and the responsibility to get them out in the world.
Now, I know my gifts. It took me a while. I was 64. It took me 50 years literally to find them. well, probably not that long, probably 45 years, about 9 years ago. How do people find those gifts? I know that's where you come in, but
Yeah.
people listening go, God, that sounds great, Linda, but I don't know what my gifts are.
Yeah. Well, I didn't know what mine were for a very long time. I mean, I knew I could build a hell of a spreadsheet and program a computer pretty well, but I'm not going to put those in the category of gifts. Um, it wasn't until I was ready to stop and look at myself and get curious and ask the question, who am I? And a lot of people don't, they just kind of do life and they never stop to ask themselves that question. Most people, and they get on the merry-go-round, and then we've got roles and responsibilities, and those get put on us. And then we have no time or capacity to ask that very important question. So it starts with the deep dive into who you are. A lot of people are nervous to deep dive because they say, well, what if I don't like who I find? And I say, I guarantee 1000% you're going to love who you find. So let's go find that person. And then once they find that person, who they are, they realize they can raise their sense of worthiness. And that's a lot of work that we do, is how worthy am I? Because you're not going to feel like you're worthy to get your gifts out into the world, or that you even might have gifts if you don't believe that you're worthy, period. So we start there. And once we do that, then it's a self-discovery journey. And I have special questions I ask that help people really to discover who they are and what's right for them and what's next for them. And once they do that, we're uncovering those gifts at that point. As a matter of fact, I just had a client last week who, our very first session, I pointed some things out and gave him some homework. I always give some homework to do, growth activities, I call them. And he wrote 12 pages of who I am after one session. His brain exploded. He's like, oh my gosh, I just found out who I am. So, with the right questions and the willingness to go within, you can find who you are and what your gifts are.
I was just going to ask you a story. Tell us the story. You're in my head. I love it, because that's a beautiful story. And what was his emotion like when you saw him after he wrote those 12 pages?
Oh my gosh, he was elated. He was blown away that much information came out of one session that he could explore and get to know himself. It was absolutely incredible. And yeah, he was totally elated and much more excited about his future, because now he recognizes if with all this information, how can there not be a pathway? There's definitely a pathway to what I'm supposed to be doing next in my life and career.
It's scary what you don't, and I say this all the time on podcasts, what you don't know is really scary, because all that stuff you're missing out. And I hear a lot of successful people tell me, especially on my podcast, you're doing a disservice to people not sharing your gifts. You believe that?
Yes, I do. First of all, people deserve the true you, the authentic you, the real you. I mean, that's who they deserve. And your loved ones deserve the best you. And you're not the best you if you're not fully accepting and living the gifts that you've been given.
Yeah, it's powerful. I thought you'd like that. I didn't want to put you on the spot. I knew you'd handle it. Well, like it, champ, because you're brilliant. So that leads to these gifts and purpose. What's their next step in life? And is it more important? Let me go this way. Is it more important for family or for your professional life to have these purposes and gifts?
The answer is yes.
Both. Okay. That's what I figured. Okay.
Yeah, that's the answer. Yeah. When you are knowing your gifts, accepting your gifts, and recognizing these gifts are meant to be, I mean, think of it, it's a gift. You got to give them. You give gifts, right? When you recognize that, and you start to align your life, your relationships, your work around who you are, what happens is you let go of who you're not. And that's such a huge burden, is all this striving and trying that people are, embroiled in, and the physical, emotional, and mental toll that takes on people. So when we can unbridle ourselves from who we're not, just like this is who I am. I love who I am. And, and then you show up and you're so much more grounded and at peace when you do this work. And you know what? It doesn't need to take a long time. I do this work with my clients in like 6 months. So it does not need to take a long time.
Yeah. Yeah, and that's quick. Audience, you be like, no, that's quick because every day or every week or every time you meet, you're getting better, and you're, like I said, you're getting 1% better all the time. I tell people that's the goal. So the ROI of all this, if you look at, I don't know if let's use impact. The return of impact is impact, but impact is great. Like I impacted you today. Was it meaningful? Maybe for you, but there's a difference. And to ask, tell me, is there a difference between impact and meaningful impact, and what is the difference?
Oh, okay. All right, great. So, well, impact always ripples. It does. I mean, you look at my little thing, says ripple maker, right?
Yeah.
Everything that we do ripples in some way. When we are mindful and in alignment, then and intentional, then our impact is meaningful. And then those ripples make more of a ripple in the world. And that's what I mean when I say, we're meant to unleash what we were born to bring, our gifts to the world, because they ripple. And when they ripple, we become part of the healing and part of the solution. So meaningful ripples is really our goal. And that can only happen through this alignment. Because when people come to me, my tagline is unleash what you were born to bring. They're not all saying, listen, I'm ready to unleash what I was born to bring. No, they come to me to say, I want to live a meaningful, aligned, purposeful life. And then, spoiler alert, once we get them there, they're like, oh, I'm supposed to give my gifts to the world. Like, how can I have a meaningful impact in the world? And that's what I mean. See, now that you're here, only from here, from this beautiful, aligned, accepting, loving place, can you unleash what you were born to bring. And that's where the true meaning comes from.
It's in my head, I've got this story of Christmas time and want to buy a gift for your wife or your husband and don't know what that gift is. I don't know what to get her. That's what it sounds like here. And you're that magician. I'm just going to use that word. It comes in and goes, here's the gift for in this case, your life, for your wife or your husband. That's what it seems like is, everybody's looking for a gift. What's the greatest gift for their birthday or for their Christmas? For you, the greatest gift is you're leaving a legacy.
Oh, absolutely. You're leaving a legacy in your ripples, and it's for your children. Like, they're going to look at your example and they're going to say, oh, my parent was always all stressed out and striving. And that's why a lot of these 20 somethings don't want to adult, because they're like, that is just not looking like something I want. They're not seeing the people who are, too many people in their lives who are leading aligned, purposeful lives with aligned, purposeful, meaningful relationships. Because if they saw that, they'd say, I want some of that. For sure.
You're the smartest lady. I shouldn't say that, because a lot of smart ladies listening are going to go, you're extremely smart, because you said a word there, audience. I want you to catch on this, is alignment. Because Steve Ramona could have a purpose, but if it's not aligned, I'm not sharing the gifts because there's no alignment, correct?
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, how do I get aligned?
How do we get aligned? Okay. So I'll use like this analogy. So you've got a hand and then a glove. You are the hand. You've got to know exactly all of who you are and know you're completely a bazillion % worthy. When you know all there is to know about you, what your gifts are, then all your life becomes a glove that fits perfectly to that hand. Your relationships fit perfectly. Your work fits perfectly. And so it still always starts right inside, right within. I don't know the answer for my clients. They know the answer. My job is to shine my bright, shiny light on their inner wisdom and pull it out of them.
That's it. And because you don't go, hey, 2 + 2 is 4, and they say, no, it's 5. No, we've got to do the work, audience. She's going to guide you. We've got to do the work. And that's where I think a lot of people miss the boat. Well, tied to all this is fear and self-doubt. It's all over the world right now. And I know you work with people. I'm sure this guy, the 12 pages story you told us about. How do we navigate the self-doubt and fear with all this?
Okay, so the self-doubt comes from our perception of our worthiness. And perception, on the bright side, perception is something that can be changed. If you've ever changed your mind on anything, you've changed your perception. And so that is a beautiful thing that everyone, each one of us has the ability to change our perception on our worthiness. I did mention that we're each a bazillion percent worthy. And what I took this client through the very first time was a little story about, do you have a nephew or a niece? Yes, I do. Okay, was that infant when they were born? They did 6 things: eat, sleep, pee, poop, puke, and cry. That's it. 6 things. How worthy is that child? And of course, everyone says 100% worthy. And then I say, okay, but they don't do anything. They didn't earn it. No, well, they don't have to earn it. Okay, well, let's just put a pin in that and move forward. Now let's look at that child who, gets a poor grade in school. Are they less worthy of love, attention, affection? No, they're not less worthy. They're just as worthy. I'm like, yeah, but they got a bad grade, or maybe they talked back, or maybe they scared the hell out of their parent in some way when they were a teenager. Is that child still less worthy? No, they're not. They're still worthy. So I said, okay, so you're telling me worthiness is neither earnable nor degradable? They're like, no, it's just not. Okay, so what percent worthy do you feel? And then we'd say something like 72% or 47%, right? And I say, but wait a minute, you just said we're born 100% worthy, and worthiness is not degradable and not earnable. So could your perception of your worthiness be the issue? And maybe you are. I might just be 100% worthy. So then I'll give them a little homework to journal about that. I might just be, because it's hard to turn around a deep-rooted belief in, like, if you say the opposite and you don't believe it's true, it's not going to vibrate correctly in the right way within you. So I might just be, I'm willing to entertain the idea that I might just be 100% worthy. And when you move through that work, which is, and I hate to use the word work because it's super exciting, and work has a connotation of hard. And the inner work that we do is fulfilling and exciting. It's not hard. When you do this process, you go through this process to shift your perception of your worthiness. Now, all of a sudden, the I'm not enough, I might fail, I might whatever, doesn't mean anything about you anymore. That then failure just stands on its own as it's learning. It wasn't failure, it was learning. It was like the game of getting warmer and getting colder. When I step in the right direction and I get feedback, I'm like, yay, I got feedback. I'm getting warmer. When I step in the wrong direction and I get feedback, I say, yay, I'm not going to go that way anymore. So there's no failure. There's only learning and feedback and moving forward.
The problem with learning, and instead of work, we can use take action or action. That's what I love the words. One of my guests, all my guests teach me so much. I like that. You're taking action, but a lot of people, and I've talked to them, I'm sure you have too, that they learn something. They go to a Tony Robbins convention, nothing against Tony, and they go for a week. They're like, oh my God, I walked on, hot coals and I learned all this. And then it dissipates weeks after weeks because they didn't take action on the learning. Do you help with that?
Oh, absolutely. Action comes from the emotion that we're experiencing. So, and the emotion that we're experiencing always comes from the thought we're thinking about the circumstance. So if you're rah-rah one week, you're like, I can do it, I can do it, I can do it. But what's really happening is the underlying thought, the belief you've been holding on, or that's been holding on to you for a lifetime, is you don't really have what it takes. So that's why that excitement wanes. And even taking action in the excitement might not have a long-term result, because eventually the deep-rooted belief that's been there all along is going to resurface again and say you don't really have what it takes. And so then you say, well, if I don't have what it takes, why bother to take action? So now it's even harder to take action. So what someone like I do, like me, what we do is we look at the action that you do want. What would you like to? Oh, I'd love to be able to be pursuing this. I'd love to be in action. Okay, what emotion would you need to feel in order to be taking that action? I need to be able to feel excited about it. Okay, what thought would you need to have to feel that excitement? And the thought, has to be kind of close to the other thought, but a good feeling thought, meaning like, I might not have what it takes, but I know how to learn. Just something like that will shift the emotion enough to be able to take that action and stay in action.
I'm speechless because you're so, I'm going to say brilliant again, smart, because perception, I wrote down, perception can be changed. You think that building's 20 feet tall, you say it's 25, somebody measures it's 25, my perception's changed. It's really that simple.
It
We have
is
to
that
fight it.
simple. And you know what's interesting is so our egos don't like to be wrong. Okay, because then it threatens our self of our identity, right? I don't want to be wrong. What I know is right. It better be right, right? But they also don't like to feel stupid. So we do not like to feel stupid. So therefore, if we have a belief and we said, okay, this thing is brown, but then we also find some evidence with the help of a coach that it's green and blue and purple. Then our ego says, well, I don't want to feel stupid. I found the evidence. It's green and blue and purple. I found the evidence that all infants are 100% worthy and worthiness is not degradable and not earnable. Holy cow, this might not be around anymore because I don't want to feel stupid. So that's kind of how we can be moving through.
Yeah.
And it's a pretty cool thing, but you're right. It's about shifting how we perceive something. It's not brown. I see that now. Okay. Now I'll move forward with what I now know.
You just made me a better person today. Thank you. Because humbleness, everyone wants to be, most people want to be around people that are humble. That said, I made a mistake. I did this. The people that don't, we don't want in our circle anyways, right? The people attack our mistakes, attack our being humble, right?
Right. Yeah. Now, I like to be careful about humility.
Okay.
Meaning, let's not tamper the shine, the brilliance. I remember I was having a conversation with my daughter, and she's very brilliant, like bright sunshine. The time she was born, she's been a ray of sunshine, and she would tamp it down because she didn't want other people to feel less shiny around her. And I said, that's not your job. Your job is to illuminate. That's why you were put on this earth as a big, shiny presence. You're here to illuminate. It doesn't mean you walk around going, I'm all that in a bag of chips because I'm bright like the sun. So it's not about hubris, but the humility we want to be careful we don't tamp down our natural gifts and our purpose for being in this world. So I just like to kind of address the humility concept. So we don't want to have hubris. We want to be quietly confident in the gifts that we've been given.
Love being corrected. And I was, and you're right. I've learned that, hey, here's my superpower. Like her, I won't say like or leave, but here's what I'm powerful at. I mean, I did with you this morning. You did with me this morning, today on the podcast. Purpose, this gifts are your gift, your superpower. And we should share that, especially if we're serving other people or other things, animals or whatever it may be. What a way to end the podcast. I do have two questions. One, what's your legacy going to look like?
So I believe my legacy, when I think about it, like to my children, what my children are getting is when you recognize that you're moving through life in a way that is keeping you less than, that you bet on yourself, you discover who you are, and you move with that purpose. There is a quote that says, the bird goes out on the limb, not because it trusts the limb not to break, but because it trusts its wings to fly. And that is something that I want my children to always know. My legacy to them and to the world is that that I want to exemplify that I am unleashing what I was born to bring. And what I was born to bring is to help other people unleash what they were born to bring. I know it with every fiber of my being that is my purpose in the world. And so each time I get to do that for someone, I know the ripples that they are making. So my ripples help other people make big, meaningful ripples in this world. And then they in turn make more. And we're all part of this beautiful healing in the world and this beautiful expansion. So, yeah.
It's beautiful. And I'm going to add to the ripples. Audience, the first 3 people that reach out to Linda and mention my podcast, Doing Business, Stephen, my name, just mention it. She knows it's our podcast that we did today. I'm going to send you a gift on learning, a great book that I've give out to a lot of people. So this is going to reward you to give gifts, find your purpose, and just do great things. And if you're not top 3, if you still reach out to her, I know she can spend 10, 15 minutes with you and guide you, because she's got that service on. You could feel it through this whole thing. So make sure you do that. That's why I wait till the end so you listen to all this great stuff she's given. Let's end with that quick get to know you question. So I'm going to your hometown. your favorite restaurant, going to reserve a table.
Mm-hmm.
You're going to invite, including me, like 3 people that have been influential in your life, whether dead or alive. And for me, I want you to order food for the whole table. So what would you order?
Okay. Well, I would be taking you to the Grange in Hamburg, New York, which is a suburb of Buffalo. Everything's kind of farm to table and very unique. I would absolutely get one of their specialty wood-fired pizzas because they're outstanding. And most of the stuff on their menu is so incredibly unique. And I love to expand. I am what I call a conscious expander. Everyone's growing and learning, but some of us are deliberate, doing it on purpose. Give me more, more, more. Right? So I love to expand my taste horizons as well. So I would get a pizza and then, 2 new things off the menu that I've never had before.
It's beautiful. Who are we inviting? Or who are you inviting? Not me.
Who am I inviting? Well, definitely you, Steve, because you
definitely love to be
I told
there.
you before we even started recording, you are exemplifying the beautiful servant's heart with how much you give. It's very beautiful. I love to have fun. So I would probably invite like a famous comedian, probably someone like an off the wall, zany kind of humor. So, cause that's like my favorite, like, I don't know. I'm trying to think because there's so many. I just love zany, maybe Will Arnett or someone, like
Yeah, there you go.
A whole lot of fun.
Oh yeah.
For sure. So I'd probably make it more fun. And I don't know. I'd invite my husband because he's a lot of fun.
There you go. And what's the third one?
Let's see. Maybe someone that I can really learn from. I think I would like to learn from somebody. Maybe learning a little bit more about maybe someone who's like so naturally grounded. I don't even know who that would be. I don't know. Sorry, I can't give you a name. I'm just thinking.
Sorry, we'll invite them. That's a later invitation. That's fine.
Later invitation.
And I like that idea. I will always love to learn. So anybody we can learn from is great. Thank you for taking the time, being on the podcast, being so wonderful. I know people are going to want to reach out to you, especially if they want that book. How can they reach out to you?
Oh, well, thank you so much for having me. So I have a website, lindabucher.com. You got to look at that. Spelling of that last name is Bucher. There's a whole bunch of stuff on there. I got a whole page called freebies because a lot of people like to kind of learn and do things on their own. But I also do have, you can get on a Zoom with me for 30 minutes. It's just complimentary because I just have a servant's heart as well. And whatever I can enlighten in that 30 minutes, it's my pleasure to be able to do. I have a podcast called Conversations Worth Your While. You can find that on YouTube and Apple Podcasts and all the other platforms. And on my website as well. So that's great. And I have a presence on LinkedIn and Instagram and Facebook as well.
We'll get all those links to your audience. You have access to her, whether you get a book or not. And thanks again, Linda and audience. We talked about gifts this whole podcast. Well, as I said at the beginning of the show, podcasts are gifts. And you're listening to this going, my friend needs to find purpose. He's got a company and he's struggling. This could be the answer. Just share the podcast. Instead of being the uncomfortable introduction, just go, hey, listen to Linda. I just listened to her on this podcast. And they listen for 10 or 15 minutes and they reach out to her. You just give it a gift. You made a meaningful impact, like we were talking about earlier. And it doesn't have to be my podcast. Subscribe to Linda's podcast, any podcast, because that's what I think the power of them is, the gifts we can give. With that being said, me and Linda want to thank everyone for watching or listening to this podcast. And we'll see you all in the next episode of Doing Business with a Servant's Heart. Have a great day, everyone.